So this is Christmas, and what have you done? Have you eaten some tinsel? Is it hanging out your bum? Ow! Hi everybody! My name's Scarlett, I'm one of the vets from FistVet, and I'm here today to talk to you all about Christmas. So the lovely Waggel Insurance Company have invited me over to have a chat and basically make sure your pets have a lovely, safe Christmas. So I'm here today. I've been very lucky to get some of Santa's little helpers to come in, and we'll hopefully make this a very exciting experience. They've all written their wish lists for me and I'm going to go through them with them and see what we can and can't use at Christmas. I'd really love for this to be an interactive session, so please wave at me, send me some emojis, send me some questions. I'm here for the next 30 minutes or so to answer all of your queries and make sure we have a lovely Christmas, because let's be honest, 2020 has not been the best and we all deserve a great Christmas and New Year this year. Cool, so just a quick summary about FistVet. We are an online veterinary company. We do telemedicine, so that means you call in, you're in a virtual consult room, and you can have a one-to-one chat with us about your pet. We can't prescribe, but we can advise, so we're either able to give you advice how to manage whatever's going on at home, or we may be able to refer you to your local vet clinic or give you some much needed advice at that point in time. So I thought, starting today with my first Christmas helper, he's come all the way from North Pole. His name is Barry and he's been working very hard getting all the Christmas presents out for the year, and he's written me a lovely little wish list, and it's mainly food focused, which kind of fits, I suppose. And he's asked me for some stuffing, and Barry, I'm sorry, but stuffing's not always the best for dogs, so anything with onion and garlic in is a little bit of a no-no, including for cats as well. Onion in particular, or garlic in high levels, can cause issues with your red blood cells, and we really don't want that happening, so steer clear of onions and garlic. So I'm afraid we can't have some stuffing, but I definitely can give you a nice roast carrot. Okay, he approves. He's also asked for some bones, and again, sorry Baz, it's not going well. I'm not sure that's the best plan of action. So instead, what I'm going to recommend is some antlers, ones that have been shed naturally, of course, because they're very precious, and they can have a good old chew on it. I've seen bones get stuck on jaws, in the roof of the mouth, or stuck in animals' tummies. They're not much fun. Steer clear of bones this Christmas, but they can certainly have some of the meat off of it, which I think he'll like. The other thing he's asked for is a Terry's chocolate orange and a bag of sweets. And again, not the best idea, Baz. Chocolate. Let's talk about chocolate. I'm going to let you go back to bed for this bit and we'll have a chat. So, chocolate is a difficult one, because let's be honest, there's loads of it around at Christmas, and I've already received a million phone calls, and I've been on FistVet about naughty puppies stealing it out of advent calendars, out of stockings, out of Christmas decorations, all sorts. So it's certainly around this time of year, and it's something we really want to avoid our pets getting to. There's an ingredient in it, in the cocoa, called theobromine, and pets can't digest it, they can't metabolize it, and it builds up and up and up in their system, and it becomes very toxic. So the question I always get is, how do I know whether it's a toxic amount? And what's really good news about chocolate is we know the levels that are toxic. So white chocolate is not toxic, it won't have cocoa in it, but it does have lots of sugar and fat, so they can still get a really upset tummy, so please don't give them white chocolate. Milk chocolate is the one that is a bit of a gamble, depends how much they've eaten. It's again got much lower levels of cocoa. Dark chocolate is the dangerous one. Please avoid dark chocolate. And do you know what? If they eat any kind of chocolate, just give us a call. Like I said, we're here 24/7. We're not off any of the day of the week over the Christmas and festive period. Or call your vet. I do advise calling them before we go into Christmas, so you know what their opening hours are, or if they're using a different practice to cover, you know who to contact. And just check. There's lots of online calculators and things, but what we need to know is how much they've eaten and also the weight of your pet. So try and get an up-to-date weight before the Christmas period. But sorry, Baz, no chocolate. Doggy chocolate's okay. He's also put down here his ball balls. Oh, I definitely can't give him those back. But we will get him some nice toys. So I think for Barry, we'll avoid onion and garlic, but he can have some roast veg. And I've seen someone's asked about Brussels sprouts. You can definitely give some Brussels sprouts. That's absolutely fine. Don't blame me if they are making some interesting smells later that evening. No bones, please, avoid them. Antlers are fine. And no sugar and chocolate unless it's specifically made for pets. So next up, all the way from North Pole, we've got Norman, and he's again one of Santa's little helpers. Here he is. And he's written a very lovely list of treats too. So he's asked for some fermenting dough. And again, this is something lots of people like to do the Christmas season. They enjoy, cooking and making their own doughs and mince pies. And I'm afraid, Norm, that's not going to be very good for your tummy. So I'm going to again say, please avoid fermenting dough and most of the ingredients that go into it. There's lots and lots of sugar and naughty things in there. He's also said he quite enjoys, after his Christmas dinner, having a sit down with some cheese, some nuts. We all do it. We have our massive roast dinner. We're all stuffed. We swear to never eat again. About an hour later, we all get out the leftovers and some nice after dinner snacks. So yeah, please feel free to comment and tell me what you enjoy after dinner as well. But cheese and pets. I'm going to be honest, we all regularly give our pets cheese. Most people use it as a treat. Cats and dogs are lactose intolerant, and again, it's a very fatty food, so be really careful. But in particular, please avoid blue cheese. Blue cheese is often very toxic in dogs, and it will cause a very upset tummy, and it can be fatal if too much is eaten. So blue cheese is definitely off the menu. I'm going to allow you a small sliver of cheddar on the special day. But in general, I think there's better alternatives. And somebody's just asked about potatoes. Definitely can offer some potatoes, some roasties. I think that sounds lovely, and I don't think we'll have any complaints from the boys for that. Nuts, you've also selected there, Norm, on your list. I'd probably avoid them. They're not something many pets scavenge, but and they're not typically toxic except for macadamia nuts, which actually are toxic. So if they do eat those, you need to get in contact with your vet or with us at FistVet. But nuts in general can get stuck if they snaffle the wrong size, and we really don't want your intestines being blocked on the new year. So I would avoid nuts. I would generally say when the nibbles and things that are getting handed around and likely to be dropped come out, probably lock your pets away, because if they're anything like Norman and Barry are, nothing is safe. You've also put a very odd one down, Norman. He said the remote control, and I think, some pets like to chew and steal items from around the house, which they shouldn't have, but they decide they like. And I wanted to flag this because this time of year there's lots of presents under the tree that have batteries in, and batteries are nasty. We do not want our dogs to eat batteries, or our cats. It's just cats have a more refined palate, shall we say. So I think they're a bit less likely to eat them, but batteries are caustic, so they can cause burns on the tongue or in the throat. Somebody's just put wires. Yes, wires around the tree as well, getting nibbled. Definitely hide away all the electrics. Cover the base of the tree. Keep your pets away from the electronics in general, because it doesn't tend to go very well. So we're going to give you a squeaky remote control, a blow-up one, but not a real one. And I think that's a nice Christmas day for him too. Somebody said cucumber, 100%. You're having a much more healthy Christmas dinner than me if there's salad. But you can definitely use cucumber. They tend to love it. Norman and Barry have definitely enjoyed some whilst making some little toys with all the elves, huh? Fine. All right, Norm, you can go back to bed with Barry. And then we've got one final very special guest, and I feel very, very lucky that he's here because he's actually one of the elves, and he's so busy this time of the year. It's a week until Christmas, and he's come in specially for this moment. So I'd like you all to meet Wilfred. Wilfred, you're up. Here he is. And he is a very, very wise and old elf. and he's been working day in and day out to get everybody's toys ready. So I'm very happy you're here and you've spared us all a little bit of time. And Wilfred again has decided to go down the route of tasty, tasty things on his Christmas list. And he says he enjoys indulging himself. He's a more senior citizen and he would like a little bit more to eat at Christmas. And I don't blame you, Wilfred. I'm not a senior citizen and I like indulging myself, so why not? And he has requested, oh my goodness, Wilfred, he's requested duck fat roast potatoes, very greedy. He's also asked for a cheese platter. He's asked for some macaroni and cheese. It's not very festive, but whatever you fancy. Deep fried foods. Oh, and the fat ball for the birds. So I think we've got a theme here. Wilfred wants to put on a bit of Christmas weight and he would like to indulge, but actually fatty foods are not good for pets, so please don't give them any. They're particularly more likely to cause tummy upset, but actually in some more serious cases we can get pancreatitis. And that is where the pancreas, which is an organ, sits next to your stomach and it's involved in digesting fat, becomes really inflamed, causes quite severe nausea, and it makes them feel sick. Sorry, that's Batcat. He likes to check in. And it's very important that they don't get exposed to it. So no fatty foods. It's got to be a Weight Watchers Christmas, but that's okay. They can still have lots and lots of tasty things as well. He's also requested that everything has gravy on top of it. And again, that sounds delicious, but we should avoid salt, please. Salty foods, fatty foods, you're in for a disaster. Nobody needs explosive diarrhea on Boxing Day morning. So it says, so let's avoid it. Let's just not have gravy and fat together. He's also suggested a little tipple after dinner, and why not? We all do it. And somebody earlier commented sherry trifle, and Wilfred's actually specified Baileys or sherry, so he's obviously got a sweet tooth. Alcohol and pets, probably a no. I know a lot of people often offer them a sip, but you don't need a lot of it for it to be toxic. So I'm afraid it's a sober Christmas for you, but there's actually some very, very sweet companies that make dog-friendly alcohol now. It's obviously alcohol-free, things like Prosecco and things like that help you give them a little chin-chin and a cheers on Christmas Day without upsetting their tummy. So no alcohol, but a glass of Prosecco and a cheers is definitely allowed. Anything else you want this Christmas? Bit more sleep. I think that's fair. So do I. Right, I'll send him back to the workshop. He's got to get busy back to making some more toys. So you've probably seen Batcat, who is at the start of the video, wandering around. And I thought it was important that we had some cats present as well, because I think when it comes to mischief, other than Buddy the elf, cats are definitely likely to get into it. And the classic thing that we see with our cats is string and tinsel and ribbons getting eaten. And they think it's brilliant, they bat it around, they pull it off your decorations, and then they swallow it. And that's where it all goes wrong. Please comment if any of your pets have decided to digest the Christmas decorations. I hope they haven't, but it's interesting to know if anyone else has experienced this. I now have to live in a tinsel-free house, other than that bit right at the top of the tree, because Batcat insists on eating it all. And the problem with tinsel and ribbon and string is once it goes in, one bit starts to move through the intestines, the other bit doesn't have to, and we can get something called a linear foreign body. And that means you've got something stuck and abnormal in the tummy, and it moves through the intestines, which are like a squirrely-whirly chamber of food. And as one end moves through and the other doesn't, it all crinkles together a bit like a pair of curtains. And that's a bit of an issue. And it's quite a major operation to fix it. And it can be very serious. So if you've got young kittens, if you've got cats that are likely to get into all the decorations, take them down or put them in an area the cat can't get to, or keep the cat out of that area, because it's not worth the hassle and it can be very serious if they do eat it. If you happen to see a bit of tinsel or string hanging out of your cat's bottom, please don't pull it. Please call FistVet or your vets or your out of hours and get them seen, because what can happen is as you pull it, you scrunch up all those intestines. So as much as it looks like a very fun party trick, please don't, and please get in contact with the vet if that does happen. The other thing is baubles. Oh my goodness, mainly my tree now is wooden things that can't be shattered. Cats and kittens, they love to back them off the tree and knock them around the living room, and then the dog's chasing it, and then Uncle John's fallen over and goodness knows what's happening. Just either put them on a level they can't get to, put the tree somewhere they can't get to, or keep them away, because although they're probably not going to eat them, if they shatter, it's a really good way to get glass and cuts in their paws or in their mouth, and you know, then you've got bloody footprints around your house for Christmas and it looks like a crime scene rather than a festive scene. So delicate baubles or things they're likely to break, again, keep them away, because cats are naughty, they want to get into mischief, so let's stop them doing that. A bit more of a serious one that I just wanted to bring up is something called antifreeze. And if anybody here uses it for their car, feel free to comment. It'd be interesting to know if you've selected kind of the cat-friendly one or not. So it's something that's used for cars' radiators, and it's typically sweet tasting, or at least the old versions of it are. And the problem with that is cats then go outside and they see some antifreeze on the ground where someone's been filling up their car and it's spilt, and they think this is brilliant, this is a free drink, and they drink it, and it's often fatal. It's really, really nasty if they drink it. So the best thing to do is make sure the antifreeze you are using is a cat-friendly one, so you can't contribute to the problem. But also, if your pet goes outside and you know that they are scavengers or going into garages, or if ever they come in and they smell sweet around their face, get them straight to the vet, because by the time the signs have shown, it's often too late to do anything. So we really, really want to prevent them getting to it. So be responsible and use some that are pet friendly. And if you've got a cat, or I mean, it's not very common in dogs, but if you've got cats that go outside and are likely to drink it, keep them in, or just keep very, very close watch on them. I'm certainly quite paranoid about mine, so they stay in for the real cold days, because Bat, Cat and Pudding like getting into trouble. I suppose the other thing I wanted to talk about, which I have recently embraced, is candles and reed diffusers and lovely smelly things, because there's nothing better than a house that smells festive and looks festive. So a lot of candles and diffusers contain ethanol and essential oils, and they are toxic to cats. So you need to pick an area that is out of the way, or somewhere that they can't reach or get to. Dogs as well, if they drink it, if you spill it and they get to it, it will cause burns in their mouth and be very, very uncomfortable. So would really, really recommend that you put them somewhere well out of reach, or in a room that they don't go into, and use pet-friendly kind of air fresheners and things like that. I know most of you won't have parrots and amphibians and reptiles, but if you do, be extra careful, because they're super sensitive to anything in the air and any smelly things, and actually a lot of rodents are as well. So if any of you have small little critters or birds, steer clear of candles and diffusers and air fresheners, because it can be very, very dangerous for them. The other important thing, which I'm rubbish at because I do not have green fingers, I have animal hands for making them well, are all the plants that we regularly see that can be toxic. So the most important one, lilies. Lilies and cats, they are not friends at all. Any part of the lily plant is toxic. That's leaves, that's the stem, that's the pollen, any bit of it, it doesn't matter. A lot of people used to think it was just the pollen, but actually if they get to any part of it, it's an issue. So would really, really recommend that you keep them clear from lilies. And if your cat does come into contact with them, nibbles on them, gets the pollen on them, straight to the vet. They need to be hospitalised to help keep their kidneys safe. You cannot wait until the signs show. I've also got some other ones here. Some of them, I'll be honest, I wasn't familiar with, so I hope you recognise them, and feel free to comment if you do. Excuse me. We've got the amaryllis plant, the Christmas rose, we've got poinsettia, we've got mistletoe, which is only good for kissing under, not for your pets, FYI. We've got ivy, and we've got pine needles. So amaryllis and Christmas rose, they're quite likely to cause tummy upsets, drooling, salivation. Poinsettia causes quite a lot of irritation in the mouth itself, and again you can get tummy symptoms too. Ivy, localised irritation around the face, on the skin, in the mouth, and again upset bellies. Mistletoe's not the worst, but again you'd rather they didn't eat it. The leaves for sure will cause an upset tummy. And pine needles, it's all about their feet and their body. When they're running around your Christmas tree like a nutter and they knock everything over, if you're lucky enough to have a real Christmas tree, they get needles in their feet that can be very, very irritating and make their little paws sore. I saw somebody commenting about checking claws and feet, so I thought I would grab my handsome assistant again as he's loitering. So this is Batcat. So always hold your pet in a manner that they're comfortable with and they feel supported. You don't want them to feel like they're being stressed, and try not to scruff cats because it's very, very stressful for them. But if you grab their feet, you just want to gently press down above each nail, and you can have a look at their little claws. Thank you, kisses, it's nice. And you can just make sure that all of their toes are nicely in check. For any of you with Christmas kittens and puppies, it's a really good time to get them used to feeling their feeties, so you can check them. And if you do think they're sore or painful, give us a call at FistVet or call your vets, and we can help guide you through a bit more of a thorough exam. But it's a good habit to get into, and they should feel soft and equal. Some cats really don't like it, but it's a good habit to just get used to what's normal in your pet. If you feel lumps and bumps, or you see any cuts, or if they're limping, like I said, get in contact with one of our vets. Excuse me while I just have a sip of drink because my throat's dry. So I think really we've kind of run through with the gang the most important bits. So I'm going to throw it open to questions with everyone to see if anybody has anything specific they want to ask, and I will bring back some of the helpers just to go back over the key points. As a whole, if you think your pet has eaten something they shouldn't, if you're just not sure, it's always better to err on the side of caution and get it checked. So we use the acronym SPEED, stop, phone the vet, which includes FistVet. It's an emergency, or call your emergency vet if your normal vets aren't open, or FistVet because we are open 24/7. Get some evidence. Pick up whatever they were eating. Know the weight of your pet because that's how we calculate toxic levels. And don't delay. Don't wait and see if they develop signs, because often once they show signs it means the toxin's already kicked in. Prevention's way, way better, or acting on it. So we can make them sick, we can give them charcoal to help absorb toxins. Sometimes we need to hospitalise them on fluids to support their kidney function. I've got somebody here saying, how do you check a semi-feral kitten's nails when he doesn't like being held? Tricky one. I think really you just need to build up confidence. So don't expect much to start with. So just a gentle tap and a treat, and build up and up and up some confidence from there. Don't go straight into trying to restrain and look at them. Some pets never will let you, or you need to get a behaviourist in to help. Fell-away plugins, they're a nice pheromone, they can make them feel more calmed, but go very, very slowly with it. Make them feel secure. You can wrap them up in a towel to make a cat burrito, so just their heads poking out, and then you can do a foot at a time. But don't scruff them, don't pin them down, don't do anything that would make them freak out, because then they'll always associate you touching their feet with bad things. So I hope that helps answer that question there. The other thing I suppose that raises, that we do see quite commonly over the festive period, is family fighting. So I'm quite lucky that the little elves and reindeers here all get on. But obviously when new family members come over, which may not be the case during the festive period and lockdown and our bubbles, but normally is, you can see animals getting a little bit upset that their territory has been interrupted. My main advice with that is make a safe space for both pets. You need to give them the option to get away from each other if they don't want to spend time together. Don't force them to hang out and play and be constantly in each other's faces. Make sure there's not competition for resources. So by that I mean always have at least 2 feeding stations, at least 2 water bowls, at least 1 more litter tray than the number of the cats in the house. So if you have 2 cats, make sure there's 3 litter trays. And if they really don't like each other, sometimes you just need to make the commitment that the new pet that's new to that house is kept well away in one room that's just their space, because some animals are more territorial or more inclined to become aggressive if there's new animals in their house, and I think that's often a long behaviour fix. If we're talking about a 5-day bubble break, it's probably not going to happen, so we just want everyone to be safe, so keep them well apart. For example, my festive elf here, he's come from the North Pole, and he would rather not have Barry the reindeer jumping on him, so he has his own bed, and then the 2 reindeers like to sleep together, and that's fine. They all get on, they share food, they share water, but he just wants to be able to sleep in peace, and that's fine. He's an old gentleman. Everyone should be able to do that. And you know what? If they got into a scrap, first thing I would do if I wasn't a vet would be to speak to my vet, because remember, bites often don't look very exciting when they first happen, but it's all about what's going on underneath the skin. So they have these really long fangs that are very good at puncturing a hole deep down, but not doing much damage to the surface of the skin. So it's quite important, if you do see a bite, particularly in cats, I have to say, to get it checked out. Make sure you've got the right stuff to keep it clean and keep it monitored, because they are very, very prone to infections, even if they don't look like much is going on the skin. Pop you back down. Off he goes, back to his present making. And yeah, I think that really covers the most common issues we see. So eating naughty things, breaking decorations and hurting themselves, ruining the tree, pulling it down, which I suppose I haven't said, but please keep your pet safe. If you've got cats that climb the tree or a puppy that wants to pull it over on themselves, fence it off, fence the pet off, keep them away. We do see animals that have jumped up and fallen, or we see puppies that have eaten through the Christmas lights and had electric shocks, which obviously is pretty serious as well. And also, if you have a real tree, if you have that luxury and you've got water in the base, some animals will drink that, and that can be toxic and cause some really, really nasty upset tummies. So make sure that at least is ringed off so they can stay out of trouble. And my other advice would be, if you're eating naughty things, do it away from the pets. And the most common one, I'm saving the best till last, is, I'm going to get Barry back for this. What's your favourite snack? Grapes, raisins, sultanas, mince pies and Christmas pud. Everybody's favourite thing at Christmas, usually, minus maybe the roast dinner. Super toxic, and it's an absolute pain in the bum if your pet eats raisins or sultanas or any form of grape, because there is no set toxic limit. So only one raisin in a Great Dane or a Chihuahua can be enough to cause liver or kidney damage. So if you think your pet has come into contact with that and has potentially eaten it from mince pie, from Christmas pudding, from some yummy bread or bagel, you need to get in contact with us or with your out of hours ideally and get them straight in. A lot of the time it is recommended to keep them in hospital, I'm afraid. So I would recommend, if you're eating these things that I've listed off, so we've got onions and garlic, we've got anything sugary or chocolatey, mince pies, grapes and sultanas, alcohol, or at least keep your glasses up high away from them, or blue cheese or nuts. Maybe have your pets in another room. If you've got children who are dropping things on the floor, potentially somebody who's had one too many and is a bit unstable and likely to drop things, it might not be the best bet to have the pets at their feet waiting for crumbs. So I would definitely shift them out the room, so you know your pets are safe for Christmas. So I hope that covers everything, and I would really love to hear any questions you have. I think the most common one I've been asked online has been, what can I give them on Christmas Day? And so, you know what, a miniature roast dinner probably is all right. And the things you can include in that is a little bit of turkey or the meat you've cooked. If it's a red meat, go smaller on the portion sizes. Roast potato is fine. Some carrots and parsnips are fine. Brussels sprouts and peas are okay. You want to avoid stuffing. You want to avoid gravy from the main roast. That's the real things. And things like cranberry sauces, anything very sweet or sugary, steer away. But the basic veg, minus onion and some meat, they should absolutely love it. And I'm sure that'd be a lovely treat. And then I've seen somebody's here said, does it matter how much of the toxic food they eat? If it's just a tiny amount, do I still need to take them in? That's difficult to answer because it depends on the toxin. So my advice is, if any of the things I've listed have been eaten, speak to a vet, because sometimes like I said with raisins, it just takes one and it doesn't matter the size of the animal to be an issue. With things like chocolate, there are set limits, and it depends whether it's milk chocolate, dark chocolate, and the size of your pet. So we need to calculate that. With FistVet, we actually have access to the veterinary poisons information service as part of our job, which is brilliant. So if you have a consult with us and we aren't sure as vets, we can call them up and instantly get that answer for you. So to err on the side of caution, any of those things are eaten, just give us a call and we can hopefully answer that. Somebody's asked about Poinsettia. Yes, they are also dangerous. For sure, you just need to be careful about keeping them away from cats. You can get nice fake ones, or put it somewhere they can't access. Again, there's not necessarily a set limit. It's just if they ingest any of it, they're likely to get an upset tummy. So things for them to chew on and keep them busy, kongs and licky mats and antlers that have been shed naturally, of course, are always a good idea. Steer clear of the beer for your pets, give them a glass of Prosecco, and basically enjoy Christmas, you filthy animals. This should be great. But I'll throw it open to any questions, and if hopefully that's been useful, then that will be it, and you can go and have a lovely Christmas. So yeah, I hope that answers everything. If you think of anything later on, please feel free to send us a message, and obviously FistVet is available 24/7 if you do need us at all. And basically, I'd like to wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and say cheers. Bye guys.